Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Michelle Netzler, Senior Executive Director of Specialized Instruction and Program Development in the Special Education Office. I am a woman with long brown hair and an olive green blazer. We are so excited to be here tonight to share information about New York City specialized programs. We're taking you through from application to admissions, understanding New York City public schools specialized programs for students with disabilities. This is hosted by the Specialized Programs team in the Special Education Office, the Division of Specialized Instruction and Student Support. So the agenda for this evening: New York City specialized programs. Tonight, we're going to learn more about specialized programs and whether a specialized program may support your child. You will also learn how to contact the team if you have specific questions about how these programs could support your child. We're going to be discussing the following specialized programs this evening: autism programs, NEST, Horizon, and AIMS. The ACES program, that stands for Academic, Career, and Essential Skills Program. The PATH program, Bilingual Special Education, or you will hear it referred to as BSE. iRead, Intensive Reading Education and Development Literacy Program for our struggling readers. You're going to receive an overview of each of these programs this evening. So just to give you a landscape of specialized programs for this year, it's important to be able to locate them within our programs. Specialized programs are not in every district school. They are programs where a model has been developed and it's specialized instruction that supports students in these programs. We have autism programs Horizon in 67 schools across New York City in grades K to 12. We have NEST autism programs in 83 schools across New York City in grades K to 12. We have the AIMS program in 7 schools, and this is an early childhood education program. And it is in grades K to 2. New York City Public Schools also has the Academic Career and Essential Skills Program, or ACES, in 52 schools across the city, again, in grades K to 12. We offer bilingual special education in the languages of Spanish and Mandarin at 106 schools in New York City in grades K to 12. The iRead program is in 8 schools in grades K to 3. And the PATH program, our newest specialized program supporting students with an educational classification of emotional disabilities, is in 7 schools, grades K to 2, and 1 middle school starting with a 6th grade. So before we get started, I'm going to turn this over to Kate Dolan-Cheney, the Director of NEST and Horizon programs, and she's going to teach you more about these programs. Thanks, Kate.
Hello, and thank you, Michelle. I'm really honored to be speaking with everyone tonight. My name is Kate Dolan-Cheney, and I'm the Director of the Autism Programs NEST and Horizon. I am a white woman with brown hair and glasses. I am also a speech-language pathologist by training. So let's get started, and I'm going to share some information about the specialized programs for autistic students in New York City public schools. So there are autistic students in all public school settings, and the examples of these being general education, ICT, special class, and District 75. New York City Public Schools recognizes that some students benefit from a specially designed program with a developed model of support and services, and these specialized programs are offered in districts 1 through 32 schools. The three specialized programs, autism programs that we're going to talk about tonight, is the first one is the NEST, which is an ICT, integrated co-teaching, reduced class-sized option. We have the Horizon program, which is a special class in a community school. And we have the AIMS program, which is a special class in a community school or District 75 with the ratio of 6 children, special education teacher, and a speech provider. You're going to find out more about that from Mark Corallo, the director of the AIMS program, after I'm finished speaking. Next. So I'm going to describe the NEST and Horizon student profiles with you now. I want everybody to take a look at the top box on the slide where it says Autism Program Student Profile Classification. Students in the NEST or Horizon program and AIMS program need to meet the New York State Department of Education's diagnostic criteria for autism. This is a big way of saying that students in the NEST, Horizon, and AIMS program need to qualify for an educational classification of autism. Students do not need to have an outside autism diagnosis from a doctor. New York City Public Schools IEP teams can conduct autism measures and determine if a student qualifies for an educational classification of autism. Families do not need to secure outside neuropsych evaluations to apply to the programs. All testing can be conducted by a student's IEP team. The Central Autism Team will review all outside autism testing if it's available, but a medical diagnosis or a private neuropsych evaluation is not necessary to be considered for any of these programs. On the left side of the table, we're going to review the information that the Central Autism Team reviews when determining a student's level of functioning to make a placement determination into either the NEST or Horizon program. We realize that we want to place children appropriately into the proper program so that they can thrive. The Central Team reviews students' functioning areas in the area of cognition and intelligence, instruction and achievement, which is a fancy word for academics. We have language, we have social functioning, and we have behavior. So if we're going to look at the middle column, we're going to unpack what is the criteria for a student in the NEST program. So it's in the center column. We want everybody to look there. The NEST program supports students in an integrated co-teaching classroom. ICT classrooms have 2 teachers, a special education teacher and a general education teacher. Now we're going to review the profile of students who are well supported in the NEST program. For the NEST program, in the area of cognition or intelligence, students who are well supported in the NEST program are students that have average to above average IQs. In the area of academics or instruction or achievement, students who are well supported in the NEST program are students that have an academic skills that are on or above grade level. Students are able to work independently and in small groups with little difficulty. In the area of language, students who are well supported in the NEST program have language that's on or close to grade level expectations, except in the area of social communication. NEST students have strong receptive and expressive language skills, and their biggest area of challenge is around using their language in social settings. Some students in the NEST program might use an augmentative communication device to help them communicate, and that's okay. In the area of social functioning, students who are well supported in the NEST are students who have mild to moderate delays or differences in social communication. Students demonstrate poor social skills when interacting with each other or when they're playing with their peers. Students might appear to be rigid when having to switch focuses on things, but they're also able to sometimes have difficulty with some self-regulation. That sensory portion can be a challenge. In the area of behavior, students who are well supported in the NEST program are students that have mild behavioral challenges that are related to autism. I want to really preface this. In both programs, our team looks at behavior as a form of communication. Students are telling us what they need through their behavior. When a student demonstrates a behavior, the Central Autism Programs team, our goal is to find out the function of the behavior to see what the student might be trying to communicate with us. So we want to dispel the myth. Students with autism often have behaviors because they're communicating to us, and students in the Nest and Horizon program can demonstrate behaviors that are related to autism. So let's take a look now at the Horizon criteria. That's all the way at the right of your table. The profiles for the students that are well supported in this program. We're going to look at the area of cognition or intelligence, and students that are well supported in Horizon are students that have below or borderline average to average IQs. In the area of academics or instruction or achievement, students who are well supported in the Horizon program are students who have academic skills that are on or approaching grade level. These are students who benefit from instruction based upon the principles of ABA. Students can work independently for a few minutes and can follow multi-step directions. In the next box, in the area of language, students who are well supported in the Horizon program are students who use their language to communicate functionally. Students can speak in 2 to 3 word meaningful phrases, respond to simple WH questions, and are able to express their basic wants and needs. Some students in the Horizon program use an augmentative communication device to communicate, and that's something that we can support within the programs. Horizon students present with more challenges in regard to their receptive and expressive language. And for younger students, we might see some echolalia. In the area of social communication, that's the next box, students who are well supported in Horizon can engage in activities for a good period of time, but this is often solitary. They like to play by themselves or they are doing things by themselves. Horizon students who need more support will need more support to interact with their peers. So we're going to look at behavior. And like we said with the NEST program, students who are well supported in Horizon are students that have mild to moderate behavioral challenges that are related to autism. We understand that behavior is a form of communication for our students, and we want to understand if a child has a behavior, what the function of that behavior is, but also what they're trying to communicate to us. So let's move on to the next slide, and we're going to unpack and learn more about the autism program, the NEST program. So the NEST program is a reduced size integrated co-teaching class, or an ICT, that increases as the students age up. Again, ICT classrooms have 2 teachers, a special ed teacher and a general education teacher. Both the gen ed teacher and the special education teacher have completed pre-service training and ongoing professional development. In the NEST program, all staff, therapists, administrators, all have pre-service training and ongoing professional development to increase their understanding of how to support autistic students. Students participate in the NEST program in the general curriculum and are academically on grade level or above, and cognitively, in terms of their intelligence, are students that have average to above average IQs. Social development intervention is where the social is worked on for students in the NEST program. SDI focuses on social functioning, social and pragmatic communication in small groups led by a speech pathologist with a classroom with the classroom teachers participating so that they can carry over the social supports within the classroom setting. NEST trainings are conducted and supported by the NYU NEST Support Project. NYU is our program partner, and we work collaboratively together to support the NEST programs throughout the city. NYU consultants will provide in-school consultation to NEST staff. This is a long-standing partnership for the last 20 years. We're going to move on to the Horizon program. And the Horizon program is a special class, 8 to 1-to-1, 8 students with a classification of autism, 1 special education teacher, and 1 programmatic paraprofessional. What makes a Horizon program unique is that the class has 8 students who have an educational classification of autism. The Horizon students all benefit from the same or similar supports. They also benefit from a teacher and a paraprofessional that have specific training on supporting students with autism. Horizon classrooms utilize the same grade level work or curricula that is used in the same general education classrooms and ICT classrooms that are at the grade level. The Horizon program is an academic program with autism supports. Students in the program, as they progress through it, will take state tests, and in high school, they're taking the Regents classes. Classroom teachers and programmatic paraprofessionals all have pre-service training and ongoing professional development on autism. These are hallmarks of both the Nest and Horizon program is around the continued ongoing professional development for the teachers. We have the Horizon Social Curriculum, which is another component of the Horizon program. The Horizon Social Curriculum was developed to support social communication for Horizon students. It's delivered through a weekly speech mandate inside the classroom with the Horizon teacher and paraprofessional remaining in the classroom to support. We have central autism coaches that provide weekly support to Horizon teachers and staff. The central coaches visit program schools regularly and provide consistent coaching and autism professional development for Horizon classroom staff. Rethink Ed is an online resource available to Horizon programs and their staff. On the next slide, we're going to unpack and learn more about the classroom design. We think about a Horizon and Nest classroom as being a therapeutic environment. Since some autistic students struggle with sensory regulation, our autism program classrooms are designed in a really specific way that supports all the students, especially through those that are requiring sensory integration and regulation supports. All autism program classrooms should have reduced visual and auditory stimulation so that everybody can see and hear. We're going to have lots of visual supports. We're going to have visual schedules and voice scales to help students understand more about what's going on. We're going to have clearly defined work areas. We're going to have flexible seating options when available. And we're going to have quiet corners for all students. Individualized interventions as needed for students are all going to be developed. So I want to thank you. It's been really lovely to present to you tonight. I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Mark Corallo, the director of the AIMS program, who's going to share more about his program.
Thanks, Kate, very much. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Mark Corallo. I am the director of the AIMS program. I am a white male with glasses and a beard. So AIMS, as Michelle had mentioned, is an early childhood program supporting children with autism between the grades kindergarten to second grade. AIMS stands for acquisition, integration, meaningful communication, and social skills. The classroom is designed to support a ratio of 6 children. And within the classroom, we have one special education teacher, one full-time speech and language pathologist, one paraprofessional. There is a board-certified behavior
Также
analyst.
есть специалист по сертифицированному поведению.
Oops, we will mute the interpreters. Thank you for waiting, Mark.
Sure. So we, just to repeat, we have one school-based board-certified behavior analyst.
У нас есть одна школа, которая... Слышно?
Thank you, Mark. You can continue.
Okay. And if needed, children do receive the support of a health and/or behavior paraprofessional if needed. Just to highlight the support of the board certified behavior analyst before moving into the roles of the other professionals in the classroom, each board certified behavior analyst is available to train the classroom staff in the understandings of the principles of ABA, individualizing and designing programs to support children in specific skills that I'm going to discuss in the next slide, to support staff in understanding how to utilize the teaching procedures related to the principles of ABA, and to understand behavior management. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the design of the program is to support children who would be classified with moderate to severe autism, and they need intensive supports in the areas of meaningful skill acquisition, primarily developmental and functional skills, in the areas of receptive and expressive language, functional communication, activities of daily living, and meaningful pre-academics. So many of these skills are often needed to support the development to access academics as children grow in their language and communication skills. The method of instruction in an Ames classroom is a combination of applied behavior analysis, but a specific branch of applied behavior analysis known as verbal behavior. And in addition to that, there is a full-time speech and language therapist providing speech and language intervention. The assessment that is utilized to support the development of target goals and acquisition of skills is known as the ABLES. The ABLES are, which stands for the Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills. And it's an assessment that has 26 domains in the areas of specific developmental skills, including receptive and expressive language, activities of daily living, social skills, early academics such as reading and writing, play, and other pertinent areas such as motor skills and self-help. It is a curriculum guide. It is not a curriculum, so it is used to identify specific target skills that children need to acquire in order to live more meaningful and functional lives. In addition, as I had mentioned, the full-time speech and language pathologist provides one-to-one and small group instruction and works collaboratively with the classroom team on supporting key communication, language, and academic skills. In addition to that, our classrooms also support both push-in and pull-out occupational and physical therapy. And many times our therapists are very collaborative and work with our classroom teams in order to support the generalization of skills being taught in the classroom. Okay, next slide. So when we think about a student who would benefit from the Ames program, we are often looking at children who are maybe acquiring language, but still need a tremendous amount of prompting. They may be very inconsistent in their skill development. They may need specific contexts set up for them in order to be able to communicate. Many of the children would be described as self-directed, where they do not initiate communication on their own or spontaneously and need support around that. In addition to that, some of our children may have some spontaneous language, but it doesn't mean that they're using it in a functional manner to communicate their wants and needs or to engage with others. Other children may be non-speaking or non-vocal and may rely on other forms of communication, such as augmentative communication, gestures, or sign language. In addition to that, our children certainly need support, as mentioned, in receptive language, also known as our understanding, expressive language, which is our ability to communicate, and early social language skills. And that's where many of the teachers in the classroom would facilitate peer-to-peer interaction to support those early language and social interactions amongst children. In addition, many of our children require activities that are really motivating in order to actively engage them, so that we can build on the skills that they are learning when highly motivated. In addition to that, our children may need further development in both vocal and physical imitation skills, as well as the understanding of following directives in their natural environment, whether it's specific to contexts. And again, the goal is to give them the opportunity to be able to navigate their environment as independently as possible. And lastly, many of our students might need support in activities of daily living that may include toilet training, feeding, dressing, and or other pertinent skills that are really important and meaningful to the child and the family. Okay, next slide. Okay, and so that is it for the AIMS program. Thank you very much for listening. I am going to pass the next slide over to my colleague, Andrea Clark.
Let me take over.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Let me
everyone.
take
My name
over.
is Andrea Clark Wheeler.
Okay? My take over. My fair
Oops.
my
Excuse me,
minute.
Haitian interpretation. I will mute you here and ensure that there's only, thank you so much. Angela, we welcome your voice to take over.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Clark Wheeler. I am the director of the Academic Career and Essential Skills Program. What is ACES? ACES programs were designed to provide an appropriately rigorous academic education for eligible students with an intellectual disability who participate in New York State Alternate Assessments, or NYSA. ACES programs are offered citywide in grades kindergarten through 12th grade in districts 1 through 32. ACES programs promote inclusive practices, offering meaningful opportunities for inclusion to all students and ensuring access to students without IEPs throughout the school day. There's a focus on adaptive, essential living, and work readiness skills. I apologize, I did not mention for low vision participants, I am an Afro-Caribbean woman with long curly hair and glasses wearing a black sweater. The ACES student profile is broken down into 5 categories. Under the area of classification, students in ACES must be eligible for an educational disability classification of intellectual disabilities or multiple disabilities. In the area of cognitive ability or intelligence, students would have mild to moderate intellectual disability as a primary or accompanying impairment. In the area of assessment criteria, students must meet the requirements for and participate in New York State Alternate Assessments, NYSA. In the area of academic performance or achievement, academic abilities and skills are expected to be significantly below grade level expectations. In the area of adaptive behavior, students may demonstrate some behavioral challenges, but no significant aggressive or self-injurious behaviors. What is an intellectual disability? Intellectual disability. An intellectual disability is characterized by significantly sub-average general intellectual functioning, for example, reasoning, learning, or problem solving, existing concurrently with deficits in adaptive behavior and manifested during the developmental period that adversely affects educational performance. Multiple disabilities denotes a severe intellectual disability in addition to another significant area of disability, such as an orthopedic impairment or emotional disturbance. Multiple disabilities is characterized by concomitant impairments, the combination of which causes major educational needs that cannot be accommodated in a special education program solely designed to address one of those impairments. New York State Alternate Assessment, or NYSA. The NYSA is part of New York State testing program that measures the attainment of the state's learning standards in the areas of English Language Arts, or ELA, math, and science for students with the most severe cognitive disabilities. Students are assessed annually in ELA and mathematics in grades 3 through 8 and one time at the secondary level prior to exiting school. Currently, NYSA eligible students who meet the age criteria for 5th grade participate in a science assessment. Science will be assessed in grades 5, 8, and once again at the secondary level. The Skills and Achievement Commencement Credential. Students with individualized education plans, or IEPs, who participate in alternate assessments in lieu of Regents exams are not eligible to earn high school diplomas. The Skills and Achievement Commencement Credential is the sole exiting criteria available to students with severe cognitive disabilities who participate in alternate assessments, including New York State Alternate Assessment, or NYSA. Students are eligible to earn the Skills and Achievement Credential, a non-diploma certificate that recognizes students' skills in achieving and achievements, in academics, career development, and other foundations needed for post-living learning and working.
Good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
My colleague
Oops.
Jennifer Dole
Thanks, Andrea.
will continue for Pat. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Dull. I'm the director of the PATH program and Intense Behavior Intervention. I'm a white woman with short blonde hair, and I'm wearing glasses and a red sweater. The PATH program was designed to support students requiring social, emotional, and behavioral supports. The students also have an emotional disability or are at risk of an emotional disability classification. Our students have experienced significant life stressors or trauma and will be supported in an inclusive setting. The PATH program is supported by a collaboration of New York City Public Schools and New York University. This is achieved by designing a whole school model that focuses on inclusive and trauma-informed educational practices to ensure the success of all students. Next year, PATH will be in 6 schools in districts 4, 9, 17, and 27 in grades kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade, and 1 middle school pilot program. Students out of district are encouraged to apply. The PATH program student profile. Students eligible for placement in the PATH program include those who are eligible for an emotional disability classification or are at risk of having an emotional disability classification and who've experienced significant life stressors or trauma. These students can be supported academically in an ICT program and are on or just below grade level in academic subject areas. They have mild to moderate behavioral challenges, such as emotional or internalizing, and behavioral or externalizing. For example, low frustration tolerance, impulsivity, rapid change in mood, low self-esteem or distorted self-image, difficulties focusing or learning in school, behavioral challenges in social situations, and more. Our students may need support in forming healthy relationships and in building social skills. The PATH classroom design is a therapeutic environment. The program achieves this by designing a whole school model that focuses on inclusive and trauma-informed educational practices to ensure the success of all students. We are a reduced ICT or integrated co-teaching classroom of up to 20 students. 4 students with IEPs who require behavior and social emotional supports, and up to 16 students without IEPs. Our classes are taught by a special and general education teacher through trauma-informed lens who completed pre-service training and participate in ongoing training and consultation. We have an occupational therapist and social worker who provide push-in therapeutic intervention strategies and support families with ensuring a home-to-school connection. Lastly, all PATH staff are trained in Therapeutic Crisis Intervention for Schools, or TCIS.
PATH classrooms build on trauma-informed practices and building positive behavior supports and include strategies such as a visible calming corner, space for movement within the classroom, classroom agreements or expectations that are created with students and are clearly posted, visual supports, for example, timers, routines, step-by-step directions, soothing environmental conditions, such as alternative seating, sensory supports such as fidgets, visual representation of students' ethnic and racial identities, and organization of materials and limited visual distractions. I'm going to pass the mic to my colleague.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carolina Liriano, Director of Bilingual Special Education Programs. I'm Latina in my late 30s with long brown hair, wearing a black shirt and blazer. I'm excited to be here with you today to share more information about bilingual special education, one of our specialized programs. We're going to start off by describing the basic principles of bilingual special education. This slide shows 3 circles. There are 2 smaller circles, one positioned at the top and one at the bottom. The top smaller circle is labeled bilingual education, and the circle on the bottom is labeled special education. There's a plus sign between them and an arrow from the 2 smaller circles to a larger circle to the right, and this one is labeled bilingual special education. This image illustrates how bilingual special education combines the key components of both bilingual education and special education. There are 2 sets of laws that make it possible for bilingual special education programs to exist. We have Part 154, which are the rules for identifying and supporting students learning English. And we have Part 200, which establish the rules for identifying and supporting students with disabilities. And then we have bilingual special education, which is a program that combines support from both Part 200 and Part 154. This helps our students who need extra classroom support and are working towards English proficiency. This next slide demonstrates, shows a pie chart titled English Learners with IEPs in all of our districts as of February 2024. So for this pie chart, imagine a chart like a circular pizza cut into slices. This pie chart represents English learners with disabilities in New York City public schools. The biggest slice, taking up 86% of the pie, represents students who learn mainly in English. The smaller slice, 14% of the pie, represents students who learn in both English and in their home language. This tells us that most students with disabilities who are learning English receive instruction primarily in English, while a smaller percentage benefit from learning in both English and their home language. And these are our students who benefit from bilingual special education. Here we have the special education models and the bilingual program models and how they can be applied to bilingual special education. So we have integrated co-teaching classrooms, which have already been described. These are classrooms that include both students with and without IEPs. There are 2 teachers that lead an ICT classroom, a general education teacher and a special education teacher. Now, in a bilingual ICT program, what makes the bilingual program unique is that both teachers can support the students in their home language and in English. The teachers work together and collaborate to adapt and modify instruction to ensure the best learning experience for all students. And then we have special classes, which serve only students with IEPs. Special education classrooms are designed to meet the unique needs of each student. Teachers use specialized strategies and create a learning plan catered to helping your child reach their full potential. Now, in a bilingual special class, the teacher can support the students in their home language and in English. Some, but not all special classes may also have a classroom paraprofessional, And this additional adult in the classroom also speaks the home language of the students in a bilingual special education program. Now, an ICT or special class can follow either one of these bilingual program models, dual language or transitional bilingual education. In dual language programs, students are taught in two languages, English and their home language, such as Spanish or Mandarin. The goal of this program is for students to be able to read, write, and speak in both English and their home language. The goal is for biliteracy, bilingualism, and cultural awareness. In transitional bilingual education programs, we provide reading, writing, and other classes in English and in the child's home language. And as the student's English improves, the time spent learning in English increases and the time spent learning in the home language decreases, so that once the student is no longer identified as a student who is an English learner, they can exit the program. So to recap, bilingual special education programs help students who are learning English and have disabilities by addressing both their learning needs and their English language skill development. In bilingual special education programs, teachers can help students understand new concepts by using their home language alongside English in the classroom. Bilingual special education is an IEP recommended program. As long as the IEP recommends a special education program and a language of service other than English, the student will be able to access a BSc program if one is available. Because this is a specialized program that does not exist in every school, students can access transportation to the BSc program school that they are offered. We're opening more of these BSc programs throughout the city each year. Where we open is dependent on student needs, both special education and the language needs of our students. And we offer these classes for all grades from kindergarten to 12th grade. The first image on this slide shows 2 teachers and 3 students doing classwork at a table with notebooks, and the bottom image shows a teacher and a paraprofessional working in a small group with 3 students. These are only some of the instructional practices you can observe in bilingual special education programs. So bilingual teachers will speak the same home language as the students. They're available throughout the day to provide support in home language and English. Teachers and classroom paraprofessionals are working side by side to target the specific needs related to language and to the disability. Students in a bilingual special education program receive their instruction in their home language in all subjects, and the classroom environments are welcoming of students who are learning a new language with plenty of visuals and bilingual classroom materials, like you'll be able to see on the next slide, which just shows a poster with a list of animal names. Each animal is shown in English on the right and Spanish on the left. Animals in the next slide, please. The second poster shows a daily schedule of classroom activities and routines with accompanying visuals for our students in English and in Mandarin. And then the third poster shows vocabulary words that are presented in Spanish on a focus wall. And below each word, there are students' created definitions that include words and pictures. And now I'll be handing it over to my colleague, Rebecca, who will be talking about iRead.
Great, thanks, Carolina. Hello, my name is Rebecca Ballantyne. I'm the Director of Literacy Interventions and Access on the Special Education Instructional Team. I'm a white woman in my early 50s. I have gray hair that I wear in a braid, and tonight I'm wearing glasses. I'm happy to be with you this evening and to share about iRead. iRead stands for Intensive Reading Education and Development. It is a reduced size, integrated co-teaching class. That's an ICT class with 2 teachers. This class is specially designed to support students who are at risk for dyslexia or other print-based disabilities. Students don't need a diagnosis of dyslexia or specific learning disability to apply to the program. They will have demonstrated struggle learning to read or learning pre-reading skills. Currently, there are 8 schools with iRead classes in grades K-2 or K-3. There's at least one school in each borough, and students can apply from across the city to iRead classes. The goal of the iRead program is to ensure that students who are identified as struggling with reading or pre-literacy skills can make gains toward grade level proficient reading. A focus of the program is building the expertise and the knowledge of the school-based teams in structured literacy practices and interventions. Structured literacy is another term for science of reading, which means practices that are based on current research and evidence. So supports for the iRead class include a school-based master teacher who pushes into the classroom for small group learning and provides in-classroom coaching. Speech and occupational therapists are also trained to support literacy skills and can push into the classroom as recommended on a student's IEP. iRead is aligned to the New York City Reads initiatives and the Chancellor's Dyslexia supports for students. So what does iRead look like? There are three key components. The first component is the implementation of high-quality core instruction. This includes knowledge building, core instruction, and a foundational skills curriculum. Foundational skills for reading means the ability to match letters and sounds, what's called phonics instruction, and the earlier necessary skills of being able to manipulate speech sounds. The second component is the use of assessment data to design instruction that is prescriptive and diagnostic. So in iRead classes, teachers use universal as well as secondary screeners to help understand who is struggling and what their areas of strength and weakness are for each student. iRead classes also progress monitor all students who are not at proficient levels by doing weekly checks. And finally, iRead classes provide intensive intervention at a frequency that's needed to match the student need and use evidence-based programs that have strong records of success with improving reading outcomes.
Wow, that was a lot of information. I hope you all are stopping for a minute, taking a movement break, because we have two last very important things to do right now: applying to specialized programs. And before I get there, I want to thank the team. They did a wonderful job. And now you know who you're talking to at the end of the outreach emails. You've seen all of their faces, and they are the team who is here to support you. So applying to specialized programs. You can obtain applications for specialized programs on the New York City Public Schools website at Specialized Programs for Students with Disabilities. Applications are accepted for autism programs. Those are the NEST, Horizon, and AIMS programs that Kate and Mark went over, the ACES program that Andrea went over, the iRead program that Rebecca just went over, and the PATH program that Jennifer Dull spoke about. Bilingual special education is recommended during the IEP process. That's the program Carolina spoke about, and that is recommended on your child's IEP. So for specialized programs, if you're interested in applying, you have questions, start with your IEP team and your school. Your school-based IEP team can assist you with submitting an application, or you can submit one on your own. Remember, how do you get the application? You go to the New York City Public Schools website at the Specialized Programs page. I'm going to show you what that page looks like on the next slide. For more information, go to New York City Public Schools website. I'm going to repeat that 5 times. Just kidding. I know it's the end of the night. This is a picture of the specialized programs page. Each of the specialized programs is listed here. You can gain more information at this website. For some of you, you may want to look at our specialized programs contact. I am going to read these for those of you who are attending by phone or do not have access to this visual presentation right now. There is also a QR code, so feel free to use that to access the family guides and applications. So for the ACES program, the email address is acesprograms@schools.nyc.gov. For bilingual special education, it is BSE programs@schools.nyc.gov. For autism programs, that's Nest and Horizon, it is autism programs@schools.nyc.gov. For iRead, it is iRead program@schools.nyc.gov. For questions about accessibility and building accessibility, we have the accessible admissions email box. That's accessibleadmissions@schools.nyc.gov. We did not speak about those programs tonight, but if you have questions about accessibility, please email the inbox. The AIMS program, it is AIMS program@schools.nyc.gov. And for the PATH program, it is pathprograms@schools.nyc.gov. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We look forward to hearing from you with questions, and we hope this information helps you find a program that is helpful for your child. Thank you. Have a good evening.
This webinar is now over. Thank you, everyone.